Okay. I feel like I'm not looking in the right camera, but I am. Okay. I'm live. This should be interesting. Look, I'm up. I was up early today, like super early. No one may even come on here and jump on here and ask me a question. But I am going to start, I think. What am I going to start with? Let me get an idea. Okay, so what is today? November 5th. Let's see. Who was born this week? So from November 3rd to November 11th. Ooh, Scorpios. Ooh, we're in the time of Scorpios. Yeah. So if you are any sign, it doesn't matter who you are. If you find this is a time of the year that it's hard to get to know someone, anyone, it's probably the skepticism of the period of Scorpio, because that's the time we're in. Someone hit like on the video, but they didn't stick around to talk to me. Come in, come ask a question. Don't you want to play a game? Okay, Scorpio 2. That's what this is. This is November 3rd to November 11th. Anyone who was born during this week. Profundity. I'm going to have to look up how to actually pronounce that. In all forms, is an irresistible attraction to Scorpio 2s. Shunning superficiality. Those born shunning superficiality. So going back to, I said that before I even read that, I said that we're in the time of Scorpio. So you're not going to find everyone wanting to like immediately trust you. Most people don't anyway. It absolutely compounds by a million during the time of Scorpio, because the first thing they're going to do, any of us during this time of the year, is we're skeptics. We're all skeptics right now. Okay, so shunning superficiality, those born in the week of depth take a serious view of life, both at work and at home. This is not to say that they don't like to have fun. Far to the contrary. But even in pursuing their hobbies, pastimes, and lighter activities, they show full-bodied intensity and concentration. You're not going to find anyone living shallow right now. Some of it is the seriousness of the time of year. Some of it is the seriousness of just who we are as people. And a lot of it is the seriousness of the holidays. That's just the facts. Because they are highly competitive, jealousy and envy are naturally close to their passionate core. Scorpio 2s are extremely empathic. Most humans are. I still to this day am humorously, very adorably bless your heart when someone says, I'm an empath, as if they're unique and special, not realizing that every single human being that walks the face of the planet, if you're not a sociopath or a psychopath, you're an empath. It's that simple. If you have feelings and emotions and you feel emotions, you're an empath. Just because you feel yours and someone else's doesn't make you unique. Okay, but some of us are more empathic than others, for sure. But they know what it is to suffer. They will feel tragedy deeply, so deeply, in fact, that it can leave them devastated. Often, they repress their shadow side by various means of escape, such as retreating to a safe haven, switching off, or indulging in substance abuse. Substance abuse in general is something that a lot of humans do, but more so leading into the holidays and during the holidays. So that's another reason why it's a good time of the year to think about that, whether you're a Scorpio or not. To allay anxiety and to allay, it's not ally. to allay anxiety, and because they are aware of the power of money, Scorpios twos need to be good earners, and rarely will they knowingly put themselves at any economic disadvantage. I've yet to meet a Scorpio who didn't at least somehow manage their money relatively well. I mean, it definitely can happen for sure, of course, especially if they're on the darker negative sides of their personalities. But um, good luck getting a Scorpio to give you their money. Yeah. I see there's people watching. Leave a comment, throw up a query, a question, play a game. Missed January. Jadra, I don't know. I'm reading this week's, what you're reading, what I'm reading is the astrology breakdown of this anyone born this week. But it also, Scorpio, the time of Scorpio affects us all. So it can be difficult to get Scorpio 2s to open up and talk about whatever may be bothering them. Even a trusted life partner or dear friend must pass all kinds of roadblocks. The most skeptical human, and I think I said this a little bit earlier, the most skeptical of us is about tenfold if you're Scorpio. If you have a Scorpio in your life, or you are a Scorpio, just accept it. Just accept the fact that they're not going to take everything you say at face value. They're not going to buy all your bullshit. They simply will not. A Scorpio is going to have to be convinced that you are who you say you are who you are, etc. Any deep bond formed with such an individual obviously cannot be taken lightly. Not everyone is ready for such heavy commitment. Though tending to the secretive and controlling, Scorpio 2s generally make steadfast friends and faithful lovers, and are unusually kind, giving, and even sentimental. That's pretty cool. So the strengths for this time period is serious, steadfast, sexual, but the weaknesses are depressive, worrying, escapist. Anyway, just know we are both Aquarius. Yes. Okay, so Jadra, who's in our chat, I know your sign, so now ask me a question. So the game goes like this, and I've done this for years. I usually post it as a post in my Facebook, and I openly invite people to tell me their sign and ask me a question, and see just how close I get to the answer, or to an answer of what they're thinking or questioning. And so all I need is the sign and the question. And so that's what this is about. That's what this game, this going live. I was up super early, and I've been meaning to do this for a while. I'll probably, if motivation keeps up, I could totally, I may turn this into a weekly thing, because the year is broken out that way. And okay, what is going to happen the rest of this year? Okay, so, well, it's funny you ask that, because at the beginning of this, I talked about the fact that we're in the time of Scorpio, and how whatever sign we are, even us Aquarians, which is very, very different than Scorpio, very different than Scorpio. The thing for an Aquarius to keep in mind going into the holidays, especially during the time of Aquarius, is we're such freedom fighters for our freedom, that one of the toughest things for Aquarians during the holidays is the confines of commitment, the confines of going to maybe a family event, hanging out with family, or even friends. It's not all of us are prayed to not want to do that, but we don't want to be tied down. We don't want to have our time imposed upon. We don't want to have to be anywhere where we can't be free. So an Aquarian going into the holidays, always has to keep in mind that they're just going to have to be uncomfortable. You're just going to have to be, especially if you don't want to let down your family. If you don't want to let them down, you're going to have to go to the party. You're going to have to go to the dinner. You're going to have to sit with the relatives. You're going to have to answer questions. You may have to give people hugs, and it's not to say Aquarians, because Aquarians aren't necessarily all going to have to face mom. Yep, exactly. And so when I think about what's going to happen the rest of the year for an Aquarian, especially asking me today, right now, that's the first thing that comes to mind, because it doesn't matter what time of the year it is. I don't like being beholden to have to be somewhere at a certain time, because it's, for some of us, for a lot of us, it's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing. Thanks for the question. Thanks for participating. That was super fun. And whoever, I know it says I have a few people watching. So whoever else is out there, throw up another question. Jadra, you can throw up another question. Since I have time and I'm here, I was also going to go to what's called The Secret Language of Birthdays. And this is another one of my books that I absolutely love. And today is the 5th of November. And a lot of times, even if we're not born today, reading about the influences of a day can be pretty interesting. This is the day of actuality. And I'll just make use of this time until I get a question up on the screen. Actually, what would be fun, rather than reading this whole thing, because it's just way too long. Let's see. Numbers and planets, speedy planet Mercury, quickness of thought and change. Gonna have to face mom. I was just thinking about that. So, that's a good point. You didn't make the point, Jadra, but my brain, this is how my brain works. I'm thinking, well, what else could I give back to that statement? So I felt like something wasn't, I didn't finish. And I feel like what I might say to finish that off, and this is good for anyone, any time of the year, when we have to go through something we don't want to go through, or we have to face someone we may feel is going to be horrible, or whatever it is, being grateful or finding reasons to be grateful for that experience, whatever it is we're going to be doing, is a good start. And that's not even astrology related. That's just in general as people. I find that I can get into a place of willingness to do it if I find a positive reason or a positive thing to come of it, or to come from it, or to bring to it. I had flipping the coin. One of my gurus taught me, it's like a penny may be a penny, and it may be only 1/100th of a dollar, but it's still a penny. And it's, I know it's this comparison thing. Is it enough? Is it good? Is it bad? Well, don't worry about it. Would not accept amends. Yeah. That takes time. That has a lot to do with grief. Believe it or not, grief is not something you can snap your fingers and get rid of. If you've ever been through a loss, or if you've ever had anyone die, or if you've ever had any kind of horrific, soul-crushing loss of something, then you can understand why forgiveness for some people doesn't happen right away. It doesn't happen at the snap of the fingers. It takes time. It takes time. It takes more time. It takes a lot of time. Yeah. And I get that. I get that, because, the good news is, and hopefully this helps. Hopefully this helps. Amends is never about the other person accepting it. It just isn't. Them accepting our amends is fucking irrelevant. It's irrelevant. It is fucking irrelevant. Us making amends, us owning our shit, us going to a person and saying, I fucked up and I want to make this better. That is about me. That's all for me. I know it sounds kind of like, what are you even talking about? But no, it's not about getting forgiven. It's not about getting forgiven. Making amends doesn't mean I'm going to be forgiven. It just does not. It means that I am willing to accept what I did, and I'm willing to do it different. I'm willing to make it better. Whether they accept that or not doesn't mean the amends didn't happen. It doesn't mean I didn't do the work. It just means they've got their own healing to do. They've got their own work to do. And that one's a hard one. I mean, it's easier for me to say, and just because I'm saying that to you doesn't mean you're going to, feel healed by it, but I hope that helps. Kind of happy, not in my life. She's been sober for 30 years, but is still as controlling. Yeah. It's one of those perfect examples of how just, being sober or not is really, for some people, it doesn't mean their behavior is better just because they're sober. Being sober is, getting sober and being sober is not the same thing as being a decent human being or not, or being kind or not, or even being mean or not. I've met a lot of clean and sober people that are just as fucked up as when they were using. And that just everything you're talking about, like that you brought up, sweetheart, it just huge reminders that physical healing, physical recovery has nothing to do with the behavior of people. It has nothing to do with my behavior or other people's behaviors. Their behaviors are behaviors. And, yes, it is for me, 100% easier to change the behaviors without the drugs and alcohol. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying it's easier. It's like easier because for starters, speaking for me, there was no hope of changing behavior until this was cleared of bullshit I was putting into my system. So as an Aquarian, what I can also say to your question and what you brought up, and I love this topic, especially as a fellow Aquarian, we don't like being trapped. Aquarians we don't ever want to be trapped. We don't want to be trapped. We don't want to be caged. We don't want to be tied down. Do not impede upon our freedoms. The fact that she's still controlling is probably a big issue. Like I know it would be for me. Fuck you. You think you're controlling me. That's definitely a challenge for Aquarians to go into the holiday season in general, like I said before. And then when we take into consideration everything else that you've said, it's a big deal. It can be a big deal. And so what I can say to that is to remind yourself that not being someone who doesn't want to be caged in, trapped, that's exactly what negative emotions will do to you. Whether it's negative emotions about having to talk or see your mom, whether it's negative emotions about your childhood, whatever those are, you may not see it, but it becomes a virtual prison, a virtual emotional prison for yourself to keep yourself caged into those emotions. One of my greatest gurus that really helped me get past a lot of that negative mindset thinking about my current state of life or my past was learning what emotional masochism was. It's a weird game, me some stuff and thought we were making headway, found out no. Yeah. You can remind yourself that you making headway, Jadra, you healing, you working, you making headway on you internally is enough. It's enough. I can't work my recovery. I cannot work towards being a better person and expect other people to come along with me. Doesn't work that way. Does not fucking work that way. I've tried that even in recovery, even though I'm talking about astrology and super fun game play for today. Yeah, yeah. I've heard of that happening, but and a lot of people talk about that, how they have relationships better with the grandparents, and that's because grandparents don't have to be the mom. Um, and I'm fairly certain I already know this. I don't think you're a mom, and I don't mean to invalidate it or minimize it. But if you're not a mom, Jadra, you're not going to get it. You're not going to understand why your mom would feel that way. You're just not going to get it. Um, and it's not to say that you would, just even if you did have kids. But once we've actually had a baby, yeah, some of us. My mom, I'll tell you right now, my mom didn't give two fucks about me and left when I was 9. So right there, even as controlling as she sounds like you're sharing about your mom, or whatever it is you have to deal with your mom, the fact that you get to see her, you have her in your life, is more than what a lot of people ever got. And that alone can help you go into the holiday season, as a daughter, as an Aquarian, as a fellow female, as another person who deserves love, and hopefully find ways to manage that relationship. Really, be grateful you have her. Be grateful. Oh wow, my watch number went up to like four or five people. Whoa. Okay, there's a ticker at the bottom. If you're new here, if you just hopped on, I was gonna, wrap up and go. But if you want to play the game, comment your sign and a curious query question. For those watching, we were talking about what's the upcoming year and what's gonna happen. No, it's not TMI, girl. This is what I'm here for. I haven't done this in a long time. I'm totally, I was up before 9, so it's a day, man. It was quite an experience to be up as early as I have been or was. And so we'll see. I didn't see a new question. Everyone, whoever was hopping in or hopped in, people do that. They hop in, they hop out, they leave, they come, they go. They don't ask questions. They ask questions. It's all good. It's fun. It was fun. So yeah. So I guess I'll just do that. I'll just wrap it up with that. You take yourself into going into what we're going to go into as a human race, into the holidays, and try to look for the good rather than the bad. Try to be on the positive rather than the negative. Remind ourselves we're alive and we're breathing. I just shared about this morning because I was supposed to be at a job interview at 8 a.m. and I already, I've dealt 32 years in healthcare, and it's nothing new to be, I'm not shocked. Human behavior ceases to shock me. I can't remember the last time I was actually shocked by human behavior. I'm rarely shocked by human behavior. Most ways people act looking for work now. Yeah. So I get, this interview this morning, not shocking. It was a scam thing. They were trying to like really get money as opposed to, hiring anybody like seriously. And, but the benefit is I'm fuck, man. I'm up as early. Today was the earliest I've been up in months since I left my last job. And I'm on fire now, man. Hate interviews, focus in HR. Oh, the irony, right? It's interesting. I get that. As an Aquarian, I totally get that, because not all of us are introverts. It's actually more common for an Aquarius to be an extrovert. We are definitely the types that extroversion or being openly extroverted or being openly comfortable like that is it's specific with Aquarians. It's specific. In other words, it's like, a situation where we get to be aware of where we're going to be, what's going to happen, who's going to be there. If we're conducting the interview, 99.9% of the time we're fine because we're conducting the interview. I guess it's in a way kind of talking, it kind of alludes to or it makes it sound like we're controlling, but it isn't about control. It's about managing what's happening and or not managing it, because we couldn't care less about the management. Like, let someone else manage it. We're good. But we don't want to be broadsided. That's what it is. We don't want to be broadsided. We want to know what to expect. And as an interviewer, we can do that. But as an interviewee, we're like, oh, fuck. I wish I could get the questions ahead of time. You have to sell yourself and all the rejects. That's for sure. It is a form of sales. And so I go to this, so-called supposed to be an interview, turned out to not be an interview, and absolutely not shocked by any of it. But the good news is I've got 32 years of this. Okay. So sometimes that translates to jaded. Sometimes that translates to like boredom of all of the above, like whoever and whatever. I've ceased to be shocked, ceased to be surprised. And, but the good news is I know this. I know that I woke up. I woke up today. I'm actually breathing. I put on clothes. I'm not dead. Hi, David. Oh, we have someone else asking us a question. I'm excited. Okay, so what do we got here? Let's throw this up so we can transition. Okay, he says, looking forward to next year. I find if I don't tend to screw myself into the ground, I wonder, what's the downside of a positive outlook? The downside of a positive outlook? So you would think at first glance that my answer would be, well, there is no downside to a positive outlook. But as a Sagittarian, Sagittarians are going to tell you the truth no matter what. Most Sagittarians, not all, but most Sagittarians are going to be that guy that offends you because he just told you the truth and you didn't want to hear it. Some Sagittarians have learned the skill of knowing how to say the truth or speak the truth without it being offensive, but most Sagittarians are so blunt that they can offend other people. So when I think about that behavior or that attribute of a Sagittarian, and then I read your question about wondering what the downside of a positive outlook would be, what I would see as a downside of a positive outlook, even my own, is I can be so positive and so gratitude, positive outlook thinking that I'll convince myself that I have no room for growth, or I'll convince myself I have nothing to deal with today. I have allowed in the past, a positive outlook of almost behaving like blinders to things I need to deal with, if that makes any sense. And I don't know if you can relate to that, if that helps with that question in terms of if I find I don't tend to screw myself into the ground. I don't know if you mean like literal screwing or what you mean by that one. But the downside of a positive outlook for me, and I'm not a Sagittarian, but I think that as a Sagittarian, knowing Sagittarians, the good news is they're rarely going to buy bullshit. They're rarely going to try to skew bullshit. At least even if it's a positive outlook versus negative, it's usually an honest outlook. Whatever it is, it's almost always an honest outlook. And maybe the downside of a positive outlook for a Sagittarius would be trying to believe something's positive when it's not. And that would tend to be an untruth or lack of truth, and that wouldn't sit well with a Sag. A Sag is not going to like that. They're not going to like, yeah, no. It's funny, Aquarians are more known for truth and honesty, but Sages are, no, they're pretty intolerant of dishonesty. I actually struggle right now to see positive, but just makes me focus. So I know I was saying this earlier, Jadra, and I forgot. My suggestion for that, and a suggestion is that's just a suggestion. You don't have to do it, but my suggestion for this one is to go look up what it means to be an emotional masochist. Masochism, most people associate it with sex acts, and they think that masochism is just about liking to be spanked or something like that. But the reality is that a lot of emotional masochism are people who don't want to ever think positive. They want to sit in their shit and sit in their negative emotions, sit in their negative behavior, sit in all of that because it's comfortable. It hurts them. They're suffering. If you've had a lot of suffering becomes the norm. Suffering becomes the norm, and we will even cause it for ourselves on purpose, just to keep feeling that way. And that was a hard pill to swallow. When I recognized that I had the tendencies of an emotional masochist, that was a hard one to own. It was a hard one to admit. It was a hard one to own, and it was even harder to get out of. It was way harder to get out of. And I know for me that yeah. I had to want to not suffer. I had to want to not feel that way. And that's hard. You can't force yourself to that. It was a hard one. It didn't come easy. It does take time. It's like everything, nothing. Before I do anything, before I change anything, before I feel anything, I have to remind myself that nothing happens like that. Nothing happens like that. Yeah. I'm the same. I'm scared. I need work. I need a job. I'm in the same boat. A lot of us are. I've been a lot lower than where I'm at in my life today. And that's a good, talking or trying to come up with what my response would be to that for you just helped me right now. So one of the reasons, or one of the things I can do to mitigate that feeling, that scared feeling, is something like this. For example, so this interview wasn't an interview this morning, didn't work out that way. So I turned it into something useful. I turned my morning into doing something to be of service in some way. And this has been pretty fun. This has been awesome. I've been on for a half hour. I'm gonna stick around until I'm gonna do a full hour regardless, see who comes on, who hops on. So getting into action to do something positive and reminding myself that I'm only dealing with today. That's when we're in the position we're in right now, like where we need work, or we're looking for work and we're scared about it's called financial insecurity. The best answer I can have to that is, okay, that's when I have to do this. I have to do this. I literally, Jadra, I even have to put my hand up sometimes and tell myself that thing called tomorrow over here, I can't look at it, man. I can't look at it. I literally have to do this and look away and go, no. We're dealing with 11/5. We're dealing with Thursday. Today is Thursday, I think. I have to get into the day. I have to get into the moment. And what helped with that, what really helps me stay in today, is what's called grounding exercises. Is it Friday? Friday, babe. Okay, so thank you. Oh my God, that's too adorable. Wow. See, I'm okay. So let me do a grounding for you now that I know it's Friday. So a grounding, as I was taught by the beautiful, wonderful gurus in my life, it's November 5th. The only day I care about is November 5th. Today, I do, I woke up, and I'm just gonna speak my own truth. I woke up super fucking early, but I woke up. There you go, right there. My eyes actually opened. I didn't die in my sleep. Wow, that's a big fucking deal. That's a big deal. I actually woke up. I knew where I was. I knew who was not with me. I knew I didn't wake up next to anyone. I didn't go, like, I didn't have to cringe. I didn't have to look over and go, oh, what the fuck did I do? I didn't have to ask myself what I did last night. I do have coffee. I have enough coffee for today and tomorrow. Even if I wanted to look at tomorrow for the coffee, I know I have coffee tomorrow. There's clean water. So even right there, I don't even have to go any further. And I know my God overpaid me today. I'm good. And it's sad, for anyone who's watching, if you've ever been through the loss of a loved one, if you've ever been to a funeral, the only real problem that cannot be solved is death. That's it. Everything else has a solution. 100% has a fucking solution. Oh, that's rad. Fog. Yeah, there's been quite a bit of fog going on. So those, I see, people are still hopping on, hopping off. Please throw up your sign and a question, a query for us to talk about. I am going to be here for another 20, 25 minutes. Yeah, it's been foggy. I live up here in Ramona. It's been foggy on and off. It's a little spooky. It's still to this day, I see fog and I think of scary movies every single time. Doesn't fail. So yeah, I mean, there's not a single problem in the world that can't be solved as long as I'm not dead. If I'm 6 feet, now it doesn't mean I doesn't mean I have the resources. No, I'm just saying it's not over until it's over. And there's no such thing as over except death. That's it. And that keeps me on the right side of my thoughts. It doesn't always mean I'm happy. It doesn't always mean I feel good. It doesn't always mean the day is all bright and sunshine and not snowflakes, but sunshine and butterflies or whatever that phrase is. But fuck, man, I'm not dead. And, all right, we'll see what happens. I've got quite a bit of the day left. I have a painting, yet another. I mean, as you can see, I have paint. I have arting in my life. I try to think everything happens for a reason. That's very true. Sometimes, unfortunately, we don't get to know what the reason is, or we don't get to know what it is right away. But if we believe that way, you already are like halfway or more to growth, because there's a lot of people out there that don't believe that at all. Oh yeah, Black Hesher. Yeah, I would assume that he passed away in late April. He's no longer with us. April, hello, April. Favorite color you paint with? Just curious. I want to say red is a color in probably every single one of my paintings. But the answer to that question, April, would be black. And I didn't know the answer exactly when I started painting. I had to actually sell. It's so funny. First, I wouldn't show my paintings to anyone until about 7 years ago. And then when I did start showing them to people, it took someone else to look at my paintings and say, did you know your paintings, they remind me of stained glass windows? And I stepped back and I hadn't recognized that. I didn't go into my paintings with that plan, but that's what naturally came out. And so the reason I say black is my favorite color to paint with. It's got to be because no matter what I've tried, even from the get-go, I have tried to do pastels. I've tried to do paintings where there's no black. And I think I might actually have a few. I might have a few. But 99% of my paintings, if I had to do a percentage, if I really had to think about it, they all have black. Whether they started as a black outline or I ended up outlining it in black. Black, and it's just, and it has to do with the stained glass windows thing. It has to do with the fact that as a little girl, and yeah, Jadra, I'm sorry, he did pass away April 23rd of this year. He is no longer with us. Yeah, Van is no longer with us. Black is a great contrast and emphasized every color, right? I feel like I've tried, April, where I've tried to do the paintings. I have at least one or two. I do have one. I have one, I know for a fact. Yellow is the only color in the painting because I did it with my technique that I call the unpainting technique, where I solid paint a canvas with watercolor, one color, and then I use water and dry brushing to remove paint. So it's an unpainted painting, if that makes sense. And text me on the side why. Yes, sweetheart, I will. I will give you, yes. For those of you that joined us, Jadra apparently was not aware that Black Hesher had passed away in April, and I apologize, sweetheart. It had been on my page and at pages of others, and that no problem. I will message you after. He went home to be with whomever his creator to him was, and yeah, it was quite a loss for San Diego. Hi, Lisa. And April, you can still, if you're still there, throw up your sign in a question if you want, or throw up, another art question. I don't mind. I started it off. We're in the time of Scorpio, so I don't know if anyone is on here. I know that Jadra and I are Aquarians, but we are in the time of Scorpio, and I was just giving some feedback to anyone who was going to catch the show that we are in the time of Scorpio, and whether we're Scorpios or not is irrelevant. We're kind of subjected to the workings of the magic. Leo, I'm assuming. Yes, Lisa Leo, my Leo darling. Oh, my Leo darling. My ascendant is Leo, and my dad was a Leo, and I've never met a Leo I didn't love. Like there's maybe it's because I have the ascendant like that, and it's kind of this forced, or I don't know what the word is, but my Leo will lead sometimes even before the Aquarius. Taurus. Oh, Taurus is, you got me there, man. Taurus is another sign I love. The Taurus female, we can all want and pray for having strong, solid, rock solid friends in our life. And we can think we've had that and then we meet a Taurus particularly. And then we're like, holy shit, now I know what a loyal friend looks like. And it's usually a Taurus or a Capricorn sometimes. Those are the two. My dad and kids, Gemini. That's actually fitting. A Leo gets along very well with Geminis. Stubborn as shit, shrugs. Yeah, but the good news is that most Tauruses are usually stubborn about what's right. It's rare that you're going to find a Taurus stubborn in their ways about something that's harmful or hurtful to others. They're usually they're stubborn, but their stubbornness is usually right-sided or right-sized is the word. Although I will tell you that there's one of our funny quips about Tauruses is that a Taurus's stuff is their stuff. Okay. Your stuff, like if you're in a relationship with a Taurus, so it goes like this: the Taurus's stuff is their stuff, but your stuff is the Taurus's stuff. They can be very possessive, But their possessiveness is often misconfused or confused as possessiveness, but what it really is they're protective. They're protective of what's theirs. They're protective of their space. They're protective of their selves. They're protective of their loved ones. Don't fuck with anyone. Like, most of us are going to turn into crazy mama bears if someone fucks with our loved ones, right? Rarely are we going to like want to actually take out their throat. A Taurus is going to want to take out your throat. No problem adjusting my viewpoint, but when there is justice to be served, it makes me stop everything. That's right. And I was thinking about Lisa being a Leo also, because one of my favorite reminders when it comes to Leos, and this is more true for Leo men, but Leo men are the guys who are almost always ready to look at the new next big shiny thing and oh, what's that? Who's that? It's usually more so the Leo men who are like that than Leo women. Leo women tend to be that way, but only in a, how do I say this? In a good curiosity way. Like, Leos are like those people you're going to meet that they want to know something new. They want to meet new people. They want to experience new things. It's not the same. It's translated a little different for women as opposed to men. But yeah, you ladies, I love that you're here, and thank you for throwing up your comments. If you want to ask a question, if you are so brave, I was telling people at the beginning of the hour that I normally do this on my Facebook, and I know a lot of you are my newer friends on Facebook, but I've done this for years. I used to do charts in my 20s. I did astrology for quite some time in my late 20s, and early and late 20s, actually. I would actually run people's charts for them and do all kinds of stuff. I had gotten out of it, got away from it. But I would always invite people to just tell me their sign and ask a question. And it's not to say I'm a fortune teller, because I am not, but I haven't ever missed the mark yet. So we shall see. But that also could be because it's really easy to eschew understanding of what's said. But it's an interesting insight. I will share. You may have missed this part, but I know Jadra was here for it. But I said this earlier that I started the hour with the reading from a book that gives me the lowdown of each week of the year. And we are in the time of Scorpio. We're in the second week of Scorpio. And basically this week, or in general, during the time of Scorpio, you may find yourselves, ladies, you may find yourself, and gents, if anyone tunes in later, you may find yourself feeling skeptical. Okay, or more skeptical than norm. That's normal right now. Right now, this time of year, everything is skepticism. We're skeptic about everybody and anything, and we're less trusting this time of year. We're more on guard during the time of Scorpio than probably any other time of the year. Maybe Virgo would be another time of the year for us to get like that, but definitely right now. We're not going to take everything at face value. We're going to be harder to trust right now. We're going to be harder to trust others right now. Everything fake and phony is going to stand out to us right now. All of it. And some of it is just the being in the time of Scorpio, but a lot of it is being in the time right before the holiday season, just in a bunch of different ways in culture. And we talked about this a little earlier with Jadra. We get into a time of the year where we're going to start having to be around family. Part of that on guard thing that starts is from that, and some of it's just from the influence of the time of year. I've noticed that this last week or two, it's ridiculous. I've not been this mad in a long time. So, I don't mean to show off. I'm just saying. This is one of those things, April, like I haven't had to do this or haven't done anything like this really. Especially with COVID, plus here shipping is delayed and pricing. Yep. It's just, there's a lot of things that are going to put us on edge. But for sure, um, thank you for what you've said, and yes, it's true, exactly. And it's one of those things we we get like this. Okay, astrology aside, even though I was talking about how we're in Scorpio too, which is the season we're in, it's the weaknesses of this time for this time frame is depressive, worrying, and escapist. And so yes, what I usually tell people is, of course, you don't ever base life decisions, don't choose to do or not do anything based on astrology. We don't do that. However, we can use it as a reminder. Okay, the weaknesses of this time frame we're in right now, this second week of Scorpio, this going into the holidays thing, I'm going to deal with sadness. I'm going to deal with feelings of depression. I'm going to deal with worrying. Worrying is a big one, especially when it comes to money, especially when it comes to the holidays. Do I have enough, etc. And escapist. We were talking about this earlier. For those of you that are still here, oh my God, having to be around people, having to be in events, having to go to family time, having to do all this stuff. We may want to escape from all of that. We may want to hide ourselves, hide our emotions. April, be mindful of someone making you more angry about being mad, because a lot of times that's a reaction setting us up to set us apart from people. Hi, Sean. Oh, Sean, I don't see Sean. Sean didn't comment. If you're here, Sean, throw up a comment. So anger responses, depression responses, escapism, all of those things are very responsive to keeping us separate. Worrying, what's that? Yeah. So not only do we want to be mindful that those things are here for us, the worrying and depression and the sadness and the escapism, not only are we dealing with that, but one of the things to help us, and especially with what April was saying about being, however we're feeling with people, one of the things that helps me is remind myself that I'm not alone. I'm not unique. I am not the only one worrying. I am not the only one trying to escape. I am not the only one dealing with this, that, or the other. And oh, Sean, darling, I hope you throw up your sign and a question for me. I would love to take that on and do your little do a little thing for you with all the ladies here. Sean, if you don't know Sean, go follow Sean, go like his page, go find Sean How Art. He's an amazing man. I absolutely adore him. But yeah, so it helps that I slept last night. Inktober and art had me overworked and I wasn't practicing self-care. It made my emotions vulnerable. 100% can relate to that. I not really complaining, but I actually allowed myself to weigh myself today and I lost more weight. And so I jokingly have been calling myself a starving artist. And I know I'm not starving, I'm eating. But I'm definitely not practicing. I see my weight loss and I think I actually worry. So what, you think I'm scared? So he's being funny and he's probably trying to make a joke, but I'm going to treat that like an actual question. And I'm like, but what's your sign, Sean? I know this. I'm almost certain I know this. And if I don't know this, I don't know it off the top of my head. And I need to. But you need to throw me up your sign. But one, of course you're scared. I don't buy anyone. Leo. Ooh, we talked quite a bit about Leo. Woo! I don't know if you were here when I was talking with Leo with Lisa, but okay. Astrology sign. Yes, astrology sign. If I don't know if you're asking, April, but yeah, that's what okay. So we've got Sean who says he's a Leo and he says, what, you think I'm scared? Okay, so I'm gonna put those two together and say right off the bat, if a Leo is scared, they don't want you to know it. God forbid you know it. so going back to like what we're saying about being skeptic and not really trusting much, good luck getting a Leo to trust you right now. But yeah, of course they're scared. They're just probably gonna they're not gonna let you see it, and they're not gonna let you know it. Gotta bounce. Hugs. Okay, bye, April. Thanks for hopping in. Super fun to have you. So yeah, so of course you're scared. We all are. We all are. But the thing about fear, what I love when I get to talk to anyone about fear, when I get to talk to anyone about being scared, what I get to hopefully convey that helps is that one of my favorite quotes, and I can't remember exactly who said it, but they said, "What we fear, if we allow that fear to run my life or run my emotions, if I allow it to take up all the space in here, I'm actually worshiping it. I actually become this worshiper of the fear of whatever it is. What we worship, what we fear, we will worship. And so fear is one of those ones where it's not to say I can just snap my fingers and not be afraid. But I do have to, we talked about this earlier, getting into places of gratitude, counting my blessings. What do I have today? I'm alive and I'm kicking and I'm breathing. There's nothing much better than that. There's no problem other than death that can't be solved. It doesn't mean I'm going to solve it right this minute. It doesn't mean I'm going to be able to solve it today. But chances are I'm not dead. So I've already got a better chance. I've already a better chance than a lot of people when it comes to solving it, whatever it is. The other thing I was saying about Leos, I don't know, I hope Sean's still there. What I was saying about Leos earlier is that Leo men are very known to see a new bright shiny something and head off and go there. You know, when I'm still here. One of the cute comedic things I have about Leos is that don't dress down with your Leo man, because you don't always have to be like poised and proper with the pristine all hair fixed and makeup and stuff, but they definitely are more attracted to the woman who is more elegant and not elegant. That's not the word. Anyway, less likely to hang out with the earth girl who never wears makeup or doesn't shave. That's usually not, that chick's guy's usually not a Leo. Dressed down can be super hot, but you're probably going to want her to shave under her arms. I'm not saying a Leo wouldn't be attracted to an earth-loving, vegan, woman who doesn't shave. I'm not saying that he can't. I'm just saying he's more likely to want Cleopatra. I'm just saying. Yeah, shaving is a plus. Never wear makeup, way too much work. Yeah, lip gloss, what's really cool about getting older and not having the red hair anymore is I tend to find, I never was a makeup wearer. I'm not big on makeup at all, but I can get away with bare minimum now. Even today when I was going on for that interview, all I really did was a little bit of color on my cheeks and some lip gloss. That's pretty much it, and I'm fine. And actually sometimes all I got to do is put on lip gloss and I'm good. Okay, so we're coming up on the hour. I only wear a little. I know if I had my lipstick on and I was around Sean, he'd be wearing mine. Yeah, I said it. I said it out loud in my live feed. All right, you guys. So I got a minute left. I'm going to close this out at the hour. And thank you for being here. Thank you for coming on. I'm going to hopefully, this was so much fun. I had such a good time. I'm going to be back next week. I will do this again, and we'll talk about week 3 of the Scorpio time of year, and we will ask these questions again and have a check-in kind of cool week thing. I think breaking it out into the week is rad, and I will definitely text you about Van. Yeah. Ooh, yeah, baby. You know it. All right, sweethearts. I appreciate you having joined me. I appreciate you all for being here today. I will see you later. This was very cool, Jadra. My numbers changed, but I know even though my number changed, I'm fairly certain I have yours. But even if I don't, I will send it Facebook Messenger. Either way, I'm going to send you the information. It's he was a good man, and one of the things I will say, and I actually I'll tell you what Van would tell you. He would tell any of us, and Sean already will do this. I'm sure he'll, if you haven't already, Sean, and I know he might be later. If Van were here, he would tell you to create something. Go even if you have to get just a fucking crayon and a coloring book, create something today. Write a poem, write a little quote, go draw a stick figure on something. I don't know, sing a song, karaoke a song. Do whatever you can do today to create something artistically in some way. And there's a million forms of art. That's what Van would tell you to do today. And I will leave you guys with that. And I apologize that you didn't know in advance. His book, it may at some point be published by whomever has his family, who has all of his things from when he was here. But yeah, I don't know. So, all right. See you. Bye. Have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week.